Hey guys, today we'll be going through another AI caller use case. This time it'll be an inbound AI caller for SaaS startups. And in this video, I'll go over what it is, why it matters, how you can build it, and then we'll end off with a demo. So on to the big picture of what this use case actually is. So a quick overview is we are building a SaaS customer service representative that can field calls 24/7, save money, save time, increase customer satisfaction, and reduce churn. And so this is mainly targeted for SaaS startups who may not have the money or willingness to pay an entire team or outsource their customer service, but also want more than just a simple chatbot or documentation page or support email for their company. And they can actually have a phone number for their customers to call and get customer service from. So here's how it does this. If you see my other tutorials, this will look familiar, but we're using Vapi, which is a software that will handle the logic, transcription, and AI voice. And then there's functions, and in this specific build, I made it pretty simple so that you can kind of get the broad view of this use case. So we won't use any very complicated functions, but for example, that could be booking a meeting, sending a transcript, sending an email, etc. And then data, which is the information sent in the function. So here's what you'll actually need to build it. Vapi, like I mentioned, for the creation of the actual AI and the real guts and brain behind it. Make for the automations and sending end of call reports and that sort of data. And then Sheets for the actual data storage. And now I would also like to mention that you can use any equivalent of these three. If you would like to use ThinFlow and Zapier and Excel, that also works. But these will be the platforms I'm using in this specific tutorial. So here I'm going to show you how this inbound assistant call flow actually works. So there'll be an incoming call, and then Vapi will say a first message, which is kind of a generic, "Hi, welcome to X, how can we help you?" And then the customer will obviously respond to that. And then Vapi will detect which department the query is trying to access. So if it's a technical question or a sales question or a support question. And they'll use our custom knowledge base data, which I'll get into in a second when we do the Vapi tutorial. It'll use that custom data and then provide a response with that accurate data that's specific to the SaaS company. And then that will repeat until they're out of questions, and they either end the call or Vapi ends the call. Then the call will end. It'll retrieve the call data, send the call data to that Google Sheet like I mentioned, and then the flow has ended. And so here's why it matters for you, and the big opportunity here is that SaaS companies aren't perfect, especially startups. And so here's where it goes wrong. SaaS companies are constantly in development, and they live off customer feedback, constantly throwing out demos, betas, seeing how people respond, and reviews are really the lifeblood of these young SaaS startups. But most of these companies don't have any phone support, despite it being close to 60% of their customers' preference when first reaching out. And you probably feel similar, that you would rather talk to someone, even if it's an AI, over the phone versus talking to an AI chatbot or trying to search through all these documents yourself. And here's why it matters. Because without phone support, or even having phone support but it's inconsistent, not 24/7, SaaS companies lose out on valuable customer feedback, customer goodwill, and important data on their customers' preferences. So now that we know the problem, let's make the solution. Before diving deep into what we actually built, I just want to mention that the links to all these softwares are down below, as well as a Google Doc that will have links to the softwares once again, as well as all the prompts I used, the make.com template, and the Google Sheet that I used, so that you can create this for yourself, copy and paste all of it, and then even add on top of it as you want. Here's the AI assistant I created. If you aren't familiar with Vapi, I'll walk through some of the key features. So this cost is how much it costs per minute to run this AI assistant. The latency is the average response time, so that's around 1 second. And then here you really get into the meat of it. The model is an AI model that is used to respond. And so let me take you through this first message and prompt real quick so you get an overview of what this AI caller actually does. So for the first message, it's just, "Hey, welcome to Miro." So Miro is the software that I just used with the whiteboard and all of that. So I just created a mock AI demo. The one I built out here is kind of representative of if that company were to have an AI caller, just so that I had a common company that I could use that is representative of a SaaS company. And so obviously you can apply this to your own company, or if you own an AI agency and want to build this for SaaS companies, you just apply it to your clients' software and information. So here we describe the role of what this AI caller does. And we said they're an incredibly experienced customer service rep for the software company Miro. Their role is to answer calls for the relevant departments, depending on the customer's query, and then resolve their query. So their task, which is a bit repetitive, but is to converse with the customer, find out which of these departments best suit their needs, technical, sales, or support, and then use the information provided in the knowledge base to answer their question. And then more on their task is to refer to the scripts provided as context for how each conversation may go. Be very clear in how you speak, explain things in a simple and casual manner. So here's some like emotional prompting, and basically talking to the AI and saying, hey, your task is super important, and that actually makes it perform better. So here's some context, talk about the business, what Miro does a bit, and I kept it really simple here. Let me replace this with just knowledge. And if you did want to have a knowledge base that was more relevant to specifically context, you could plug it in here and specifically reference it in the prompt, but I didn't do that. Hey, so in the original recording, I forgot to show how I actually got the knowledge base. So I just wanted to add that in right here. And just a disclaimer, this is a super rough knowledge base, but I'll just walk you through how I actually got it. So what I did is I went to Miro.com, which is the software I'm making the customer rep for, and I scraped a couple of their pages, like their home page, their pricing page, and the like about us page, stuff like that. Came out to like 23 different pages. I just copy and pasted it all into this Google Doc. And then what I did is I went to ChatGPT, I pasted that document, so I downloaded it and then pasted it in ChatGPT, and then just prompted it to scrape it and create 3 separate structured knowledge bases for the AI caller that we're creating. One for sales, support, and tech, and only include the information relevant to their own department in each knowledge base. And then I do also like for it to put it in separate code windows so it's easier to copy and paste. And so yeah, that produced these. And then I asked it to give it a bit more meat, add some more depth to the knowledge bases. And that came out to, if I go here, these 3 different knowledge bases. And if we look at the support one, you can just look at common support issues, some features, the type of credit cards they take, stuff like that. And as you test out the bot for your own use case, you'll be able to find where there's holes in the knowledge base and what FAQs either the AI caller has a lot of trouble answering and you need more support for in the knowledge base, or ones that are handled pretty easily and that you don't really need to adjust much. But generally, scraping websites and then creating structured knowledge bases within ChatGPT is a great way to just get a rough draft of a knowledge base and get a demo of these AI callers out into the world, whether it's for your own company and you just want to test it out, or if you do have an AI development agency like myself and you're creating a demo for a client just to show them roughly how it would work. That's a fantastic way to do that. So back to the video. And then short, just what we do is help people collaborate digitally on our world-class whiteboard solutions. And then here we have some examples of short scripts so that the AI can recognize whether it's answering a sales question, a tech question, or a more general customer support question. And so here on the sales department script, I do specifically mention to reference to the sales knowledge base. And I forgot to go over this, but I did make a unique knowledge base for each kind of branch of questions that the AI would get. So one for tech, one for support, and one for sales. And so by separating it like that and then specifically referencing to it in the prompt, the AI is better able to fish out information rather than having a 25, 30 page long doc. That's just like a general purpose knowledge base. And so in these scripts, you can see it's pretty basic. Just customer, hi, I'm interested in purchasing a Miro subscription. You can be like, great, we offer several subscription options. Are you looking for personal, team, or enterprise? Then they answer with what they're looking for. The AI will respond and help them get it set up. And then it won't actually subscribe for them. That would be very complicated to have their billing and everything all within one phone call. But it does know where to guide them and what pages on the website to help them troubleshoot any issues with them subscribing. And then here I have function calls, but there really isn't any functions I decided to do. If you did want to include a function at the end of these conversations, then this is where you would input them. For example, if you had a function that would automatically subscribe someone, say if you have a free newsletter for your SaaS, something that does not include billing would be entirely possible within this AI caller. And then lastly, I just have some notes, and just not to be repetitive, just to note, all these kind of general scripts are the same, whether it's text, sales, or support, just for different use cases. Then these final notes, I just said for sales inquiries, try and capture the product they're interested in purchasing, but not to be pushy if they don't want to share that. And then to ensure they follow the script closely, we don't actually need that. It can kind of go off track because those are just examples. This says if a customer asks a question deviating from the script, answer the question accurately, then try and flow back to what the original purpose of them calling was. And then if a customer requests to speak with a live human, forward the call using the forwarding function. And then I'll get to that in a second, but Vapi does have a built-in function where you could input, say you do have like a tech support team, but they can't answer the volume of calls that you do get. It will only forward the ones where people request to speak to a live human. And then this last one is just to respond in plain English with no numbers or formatting. Just because sometimes when I was testing it out, I would get it talking, instead of saying 2500 or 2500, say 2500, or it would go through and say dash and like explain bullet points and stuff like that out loud, where you just want it to talk in a more casual, like human-like tone. And so publish just to save that. And then next on the transcriber, I just use DeepGram Nova 2. It's pretty common. For the voice, I use 11 Labs Sarah. I just find that 11 Labs has the best voices, and Sarah's one that I like. And then I didn't actually change anything over here. Functions, I did not have any functions. I will enable actually the end call function that allows the assistant to actually end the call versus the customer always having to end the call. And then here is I'll have to block this out, but here's where you input a forwarding phone number. And then on to advanced, you do want to enable audio recording. This likely wouldn't be on video at all, so you don't need to enable video recording. I left all this pipeline configuration the exact same. Typically these calls will be a bit longer. Actually, I'm gonna dial this down closer to 10 minutes, just over that, because I highly doubt there would be a 30-minute support call, and if there are, I don't have much trust that the person's actually going to get their problem resolved, and likely a human would have to intervene at that point. So messaging here, we have this webhook, and I'll show you once we get to make.com what this is actually used for. And then below this, we just have a voicemail message. You actually don't need an end call message. And then these I just left the exact same. And then in this analysis tab is where we actually did some cool things. Summary, I didn't do it. Sometimes I like to say organize it in bullet points or what have you, but that's complete personal preference of how you would like the transcript summarized. If you leave it empty, it will still be summarized, but not in any specific order or structure. And then this success evaluation is pretty cool because I said an expert call evaluator is how I prompted it, but basically this will analyze the transcript and return true or false based on if the customer's problem has been resolved. So return true if the query has been resolved, and false if the customer's problem has not been resolved. And then I did some more stuff with that in the Google Sheet, but basically this will let you know at a glance when looking at the data what sort of problems the AI caller isn't handling, and that will then allow you as an AI agency, or if you work with someone building it out like myself, to go in and adjust for those use cases, so that then is able to resolve those problems over the phone. And then for structured data, I just had an extra little data which basically identifies the department, whether it was the sales, tech, or support department that was queried. And in the Google Sheet, we're actually going to track where the most either complaints or calls are regarding. So if you have a bunch of sales questions, then perhaps your messaging on your website or in your ads isn't as clear as you would like it to be, and therefore you're having a lot more questions about that from customers. So that'll basically allow us to track that. So how I made this was I just added a property, named a department. The description is just this is the department that the call is routed to. Then the prompt for the structured data is just department function. You'll extract the data of which department the call is related to. It could be one of three options, either sales, tech, or support, like I just explained. Now that we're all done with Vapi, let's go over to make.com and I'll show you the very simple function that I made to organize the data. So here we are in Make, and this is a super simple function. It's just a webhook with a router that makes sure only the end of call report data is sent to the Google Sheet, and that no function calls are called. And so basically what this webhook does, think of it like something that detects whenever an action is taken on a website. So basically this webhook, which you will create by hitting add and then copy the address to your clipboard, will be pasted in Vapi in this advanced section. This is the URL Vapi will use to communicate for retrieving context, function calling, and end of call reports. So basically, this is the phone line between Vapi and make.com, which will send the data. And what this router does is basically filters out any function calls or data that we don't want, and only keeps the data that we do want, which is the end of call report, which we then store in a Google Sheet. And how you get this Google Sheet is you configure this by connecting your Google account here, and then you connect the Google Sheet ID, which is just the name of your Google Sheet, and then you choose the sheet name. The rest of all these values will be automatically filled in when you copy the Make template that I made in the Google Docs down below. And once again, I'd just like to mention that if you would like me to build an assistant like this for you, or even one much more complicated than this, then I'm more than happy to work with you, and just book a call down below using my booking link. It should be right next to the resources below. And if you do want to build this for yourself, I'm always happy to help you if you need to troubleshoot any issues. And so back to this, that very simply is all we do within Make, is that whenever a call is made, it will notify this webhook and then send the end of call report to a Google Sheet. Now, I'll go over the Google Sheet right now because that's a bit more complicated than the make.com function. So here we are within the Google Sheet, and you can see I sort of made more of a dashboard than simply storing data, and it has a couple of cool functions. So first, it will store the date and time of the call, the from number, the summary of the call, the transcript, so that's the raw transcript, versus the summary is a summarized version of the transcript, as you could expect, a recording of the call, that true false of whether the customer's query was resolved or not is stored in here, and then I made it so that if it's false it will turn red, and that if it's true, or if it was resolved and true, then it's green. And then it'll also sort the department, whether it's sales, technical, or support. And then from these two columns, I also made a count of false versus true, like resolved versus unresolved queries, and the percent of calls by department. And one other thing of note is that I also created an extension through the app script. Every time there's another false value, which is basically an unresolved query, it'll automatically move it to the top, because those will require more attention from the company and their devs and customer support, versus you don't really need to pay much attention to the ones that have been resolved, because although they may be issues, they have been solved and have been proven to be solved by the AI caller. When you copy this Google Sheet, that script should copy over. If it does not, I will leave the code that I used to make it down in the resource document down below, and you can just copy and paste that. And within Make, you can adjust what data you get. So this call info block I actually deleted. But say if you wanted to track the reason the call was ended, so whether that's the customer or Vapi ending the call or it just disconnected, you can do that. If you want to collect more information from the customer, you can make extra rows in here. And basically what I'm trying to say is this is not a comprehensive build in the slightest. This is meant to show you the power of Vapi as well as Make and Google Sheets when you combine them all with this voice AI architecture, and a really useful use case for SaaS companies where before it might not have been affordable or reasonable for them to have customer support, phone lines, and people helping out, whereas now they can field massive amounts of queries for a pretty inexpensive cost. If you look, 18 cents per minute, especially compared to minimum wage, is not a whole lot of money, especially considering that it works 24/7. It never forgets any information. It's incredibly consistent. And so let's actually get into a demo of what this caller sounds like. And you can see firsthand what a conversation between a customer and this AI would actually look like. Call Arose AI demo.
Hi, welcome to Miro. What can I help you with today?
Hey, my Miro board won't load for some reason.
I'm sorry to hear that you're experiencing issues with your Miro board. Can you please provide me with your name and a bit more detail about the specific issue you're encountering?
Yeah.
I'll guide you through some troubleshooting steps to resolve the loading problem.
Thank you. My name's Tommy, and I don't know, my power went out earlier, but everything's back. I'm on Wi-Fi, but my Miro board just won't load any of the changes I made.
Thanks for the details, Tommy. Since your power went out earlier, let's start with some basic troubleshooting. 1. Make sure your internet connection is stable. 2. Clear your browser cache and cookies. 3. Ensure your browser is up to date. 4. Try accessing Miro from a different browser or device. Can you try these steps and let me know if the issue persists?
Yeah, I just restarted my Wi-Fi and the Miro board loaded. Thank you.
That's great to hear, Tommy. I'm glad the issue is resolved. If you have any other questions or need further assistance, feel free to let me know. Have a great day.
You too. So there we kind of roleplayed what a successful call will look like, or would look like. And so now let's actually look and see if this data has transferred over. So the Google Sheet, for some reason, isn't working now. So let me kind of troubleshoot this problem. Oh, okay. And so I troubleshooted it. I accidentally did the formatting so that it only started at F3 if it was true. So now they're both the same. And so let me do another demo call where it doesn't actually solve the problem. And I'll show you how the falses will actually get bumped to the top because of the script I wrote. Call Arose AI demo.
Hi, welcome to Miro. What can I help you with today?
Hi, I'm trying to cancel my subscription. How can I do that?
I can help you with that. Can you please provide me with your name and the details of your subscription plan?
Yeah, my name's Tommy. I had a team subscription.
Hi, Tommy. Thanks for providing your name. To cancel your team's subscription, I'll guide you through the process. You can cancel it from the Miro dashboard. Please log into your Miro account, go to the billing section, and there you will find the option to cancel your subscription. If you face any issues or need further assistance, please let me know.
Hey, I'm sorry. It just didn't work. I have to go. And so now that we did one that doesn't work, we can see it update here. Okay, so the false isn't moving to the top, but once again, that came from me deleting one of these columns. So I'm gonna adjust the script real quick so that it's in reference to column F and G. If you want to adjust the script, I'll actually show you guys this part in case you guys want to adjust the script for yourself. So here's a little bit of code I wrote. So it actually should be column 5 for column F. Then is there 6 anywhere else in here? Nope. So let me try running this. And boom. As you can see, I just had to make that small adjustment. And all of these false values moved to the top. And once again, I just had some placeholder ones, like these false ones and these 2 true ones, so you can see how these graphs work. And like I mentioned, these update in real time. So you can see as we've gotten more queries that these have both been updating in real time. You can see that all the false queries have gone above the true ones, even if their timestamp is different. And so that should be it for this tutorial. Once again, if you'd like to work with me, use the link below to book a quick 15-minute call and we can chat, as well as all the resources and softwares I used will be linked down below, as well as on the resource doc where all the information I used in this build will be located. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more builds like this.